My main thing now is my e-com stuff. We did close to 90 million last year.
Wow.
So it goes from 0 to 100 super fast. You know, it's losing, and then you have to ride a giant wave and push as much as you can.
What is the one single piece of advice you would give to those who are looking to start their first business?
The only thing that helped me is therapy, and everyone has something to fix. Everyone got fucked by their parents. We know people that went on stage a few years back. They had fireworks when they came on stage. Then a year after, they committed suicide.
Thank you for joining us today, Maor. I hope that I pronounce your name right.
It's a hard name to pronounce. Yeah. It's Maor.
Maor.
Yeah.
Maor.
Yes.
So for our audience to make sure next time they see you that can pronounce your name correctly. That's how I wanted to start it. All right. Your nickname is the Wolf, right? Can you tell me where that came from?
It's a good question. You know, I think the movie came out, The Wolf of Wall Street, and I really liked it back then. And they told me, oh, you need to come up with a name for the company and stuff. And I didn't think it's gonna be like something that's gonna, you know, follow up with me. And then actually what's funny is exactly what happened in the beginning of our conversation. You asked me how to pronounce my name. I was like, no one would be able to remember it, so I went with Wolf. Then everyone remembers Wolf, so people call me Wolf.
That's how people know you. And how old were you back then when you got the nickname?
The nickname, 2015.
All right, so 10 years
10
you are
years,
known
wow.
under the nickname of.
Wow,
Yeah,
with
we're
every
growing
video,
older.
I have more gray hair, you know.
Yeah,
So it's,
exactly. Happening to me as well, but that's how we grew older. We grow older. Nice, amazing. Well, people mostly know you under the nickname of the Wolf. You also called your book Unleashing Your Inner Wolf.
Yeah.
Is that like related, obviously, to how people call you, or it has different meaning for you?
No, it is based on my brand, but I also think that the book, I don't know if you read what it is about.
Unfortunately, I didn't, but I know what it's about.
It's not a long book, so you should, but it's really about, you know, it's about the industry, but it has a lot of psychology stuff, personal development, mindset stuff. So it's everything that I learned from business coaching and my therapy sessions and stuff like that. So I put it inside the book in relation, you know, to business and digital marketing in the industry. So it's not like a tactical book. It's not like how to run a campaign, how to scale a campaign.
It's more like about having the right mindset.
Yeah, how to choose the right partner, how to understand what's going on in a conversation. You know, it's stuff like that. And it's stuff that I went through, you know. So because when I started in this industry, I had no one to teach me. And I was super naive.
It was back in 2015 as well, around that time, no? Or
yeah, I mean, I had like different hats. You know, the industry is like very divided. There are like the Amazon people, and they don't know the lead gen people, and the lead gen people don't know the black hat people, and the black hat people don't know, you know, it's like if you're in casino, dating, if you're doing this, if you're doing e-com, it's different kind of like groups. So back then, I started even a little bit before that with like the agency stuff, and then I moved and transitioned.
Tell me what was like the general feedback from the affiliate crowd on your book, like how successful it all went in the end.
So even a little bit before that, you know, it's very hard to keep producing content when you're not selling anything. You know what I mean? So usually the way that people go through is like they build like a brand themselves. They start to get a lot of people following them, and then they sell something, a course, a book, mastermind, meetups, conferences, stuff like that. And I decided that because I generate enough money and I generated enough money from the industry, I'm not looking for something that's going to, you know, I don't want to sell anyone anything. So it's very hard to keep, you know, reaching out to lots of people and, not sell anything, because even the book that sells, it sells for like $5, $10, $15. It's nothing big, you know, you don't do it for the money. So it's very hard to reach a lot of people, but it spreads out very nicely. You know, it spreads out slowly. The feedback that I got was very, very good. You know, it was very good. It took me 2.5 years, and it was before ChatGPT, before all of those things. So everything that was written there really came from what I experienced, my heart, you know, and stuff.
So you had the genuine desire to write a book.
Yeah, I really wanted to make sure that I put everything that I went through, all of the conclusions, and, you know, give it out to people, so it would give people like a shortcut, you know, instead of like going 5 years, getting scammed, not choosing the right partner, stuff like that. I wanted them to be able to, you know, get a head start.
Let's talk a little bit about who the Wolf is now. Can you give us a little breakdown of what you are currently doing? You run the agency.
Yeah.
You still run campaigns, right?
Yeah.
And you also maintain your personal brand, right?
Yeah.
Am I missing anything?
So the structure that I'm using is very different because what I do is like I would meet people at conferences, like I met you, and then we become, you know, friends. And I try and build businesses with people that I trust. So what happens is, for example, 8 or 9 years ago, I met someone. I built Boost, which is my fitness luxury fitness center.
Oh, you have a physical
I have a physical
business.
one, and then we opened 2 more. And then we opened online workout company, which is another company. It has an app, you know, and stuff like that. So what happens is usually within the first 6 months, sometimes it's 2 years, I help the business, you know, stand on its own 2 feet. Once it stands on its own 2 feet, I move on and I open up another thing and another thing. So right now I have the 3 fitness centers that are doing extremely well. It took a lot of time because, you know, the fitness industry, you know, it's based on subscriptions. It goes up, it goes down, especially at a place like Tel Aviv. You know, there is a war, everything goes down. There's COVID, you lose all of your subscribers. So it takes a lot of time to make sure that it's stable. And luckily for me, I have amazing partners there that are currently doing everything. So I really need to thank them. And then I have, my personal brand. And what I do right now is that I'm on AdLeaks, the Facebook group advisory board. So I generate content for them and I help people and stuff like that. And I have STM, which is a forum where I'm a moderator at.
Oh, you're a moderator at the STM forum?
For a few years now. And, so it's definitely a place to meet lots of people and stuff. And then I do the public speaking engagements like I do at Affiliate World. I do masterminds, I do the book, and then we have the arbitrage company where we do search arbitrage. We have like a platform that we developed for a few years now. We have lots of media buyers and it's amazing actually. And my main thing now is my e-com stuff. So with the e-com stuff, we did close to 90 million last year. Very big. Very big. What?
In revenue, 90 million?
In revenue, yeah. Just in the US. And now we're using, what we did for the first 3 years is build the team. So we have video editors, copywriters, people who are sourcing for us, the logistics, everything. And now we're taking it a step forward and we're opening a lot of other brands. So it's not drop shipping, we actually source it, we brand it, we check that the quality is up to our standards.
Are you focusing on a certain product or you just test different kind of products?
So honestly, we don't really need to test because we're at the level that, so you know, the question that everyone in this room are asking as affiliates, but also as businessmen, what is working, what I should do next? You know, it's the everlasting question. When you reach a certain level, you don't need to use spy tools. You don't need to use, you just have people talk to you and you really understand what's going on. So everything that we bet on is an almost for sure bet. When we launch a brand, our goal is to make at least 20 to 40 million in the first year. Okay. If we don't do it, it's like we will still keep it if it's profitable, but this is our goal. This is what we aim. The main challenge is getting the team, dialed in. Yeah. You want to get good people. You want to get people that care. And my main thing when I look for someone is I'm trying to see if that person is obsessive. Yeah. If he is obsessive, I know that he would reach the goals, You want someone who is like proud of his work, someone who cares about what he does. And everyone that we work with, if they need to work on weekends, if they need to work at night in order to make it right, then they understand the business, because some of the stuff that we run is very seasonal. Some of the e-com stuff that we run, the main product right now is a very much of a Q4 product. So it goes from 0 to 100 super fast.
Right.
It's losing, and then you have to ride a giant wave and push as much as you can. And it's really stressful because you have to stay up at night. You have to make sure that inventory flows. It's a super stressful thing, and that's why we decided, okay, we don't need to wait for Q4 every year. We can bring in more products, we can do more brands and stuff like that. And we're friends with everyone, that manages the big affiliate networks, so like the e-com stuff. So we know exactly what's working, we know exactly what's scaling, and we know all the things. Usually when you talk to a brand owner, they don't have the marketing experience. They understand a lot about, for example, you sell, I don't know, mattresses. You know a lot about mattresses, how to manufacture them, what's good, what's not. But actually marketing is a different thing, it's different.
Well, what strikes me the most, like running this almost $100 million business and still making time to moderate a forum. How do you balance that up? How is it even humanly possible? And what makes you, let me put it this way, what makes you not to lose interest in something like moderating a forum or creating content for a group? Or mastermind, create a mastermind while you run that business of that scale?
I mean, the simple question, the simple answer would be, the sentence is like, when you like something, you don't have to work.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. There are times that it's very hard for me to bring myself to write content, to film it, because it's very slow. In this industry, if you're not lying to people, if you're not telling them you're gonna make, $10,000 a day, $10,000 an hour, people are not gonna follow you, So the people who actually speak truth and they're very tactical and say these kinds of things, it's just the algorithm shows them less, and it's that kind of thing. So there are a few things that allow me to do it. First of all, just like I said, I like it. So for me, it flows. Like when you like something, you don't care if you work at night. That's the first thing. Second thing is that I work extremely fast. Third thing is that up till now, I delayed a lot of other stuff in my life, like marriage, and I'm gonna have a kid, a baby girl in a few months. So up to this point, I had more time. And then the biggest thing is the business structure that I told you about. When you don't have to do the whole 360, usually when you talk to people like, for example, you interviewed Attila. Okay. Attila is the CEO of his company. Yeah. I'm never the CEO. He has to recruit people, fire people, he has to buy media, he has to write stuff, he has to explain to the employees what they do. There is a lot of work involved, and also it's not just like time that it consumes, it's also like energy, when you have to constantly...
Mental power.
Yeah, mental power, and then it drains you. So when you have like different partners, for example, it's not a business, from this industry, but like, for example, the fitness center, I don't know who's working there. I don't care. I'm like a silent investor. I have a CEO, he fires people, recruits people, he gets to the place every day, he opens up the business, closes the business, does everything. So it's the same with, the arbitrage company. I have a developer, he takes care of everything that has to do with, that stuff. And then I would bring in a partner that understands what to do. And I'm always there to back everything up, and give advice and stuff like that. But there is a stage where it stands on its own 2 feet, and you don't have to keep pumping it. So believe it or not, I have a lot of time on my hands. Like I would walk my dog 6 times a day, and I try to play Xbox for sometimes an hour a day, FIFA, Call of Duty.
Well, amazing. That's like so fascinating that I really want to read your book now because I want to learn it and you learn your attitude. When you say you work fast, what do you exactly mean fast? Like
First,
you tackle, you
yeah.
almost like attack a task, or
It's more of like a mindset thing. It took me a lot of time to train my brain, but it's almost like you come up with the questions you ask me, you come up with them very fast because you've been doing this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So it's not something, if someone asked you, how do you think of those questions so fast? You wouldn't know how it works, but I trained my brain to move very fast and be very goal-oriented. Like, for example, I talked to Irena, I told her, you know what, I'm coming for this, but I'm coming specifically for this. When I come here, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna walk around the booths, look for people I know, have a drink, go to eat, come back. I come, I know exactly who I'm looking for, even if I don't know the same, exact specific person that I'm looking to talk to, I know what I'm looking for in a person. So, for example, in a conference, I wouldn't go on a long talk, with someone, even if he's very interesting, a very interesting person, because my main goal at the conference is to know as much people as I can. I'm gonna add you on Skype, take your email, add you on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and then we can talk. We can do a longer meeting when I get back next week or something. But the conference for me is about volume. You want to get as much people as possible. So that kind of a mindset translates to business as well. If someone talks to me and I'm very impatient, I try to explain once, twice. If the person doesn't understand, it's...
let's call it a night. Yeah. All right, and you also speak a lot. I saw you like on different stages.
I speak a lot right now.
No, you speak a lot right now, but it's very much welcome. I mean, at this stage, you give talks and presentations, and you participate to discussion panels, right? Does that mean that you travel a lot? How?
I try to travel a lot, regardless of like this industry. I stay at least, I would say, 90 to 100 days at hotels all over the world. And I was telling my friend yesterday, I think, that I feel like I really mastered traveling. I have a high status with all of the hotels. I know how to buy hotels for very cheap, get upgraded, buy flights for very cheap.
And when you travel a lot, doesn't that ruin your schedule, like your working flow? Because that's like. When people become more successful, they try at least to travel less because they want to focus on their job. Is it something that also happening to you, or you manage somehow to keep the high level of productivity?
I have a few answers. The first one is what happens when I travel. When I travel, the first thing I have on my mind is always work. So I wouldn't leave the hotel or something if I have something urgent or something that cannot be postponed. That's one. Two, usually what happens to people is they get very sucked into the other stuff that the industry has to offer, women, drugs, alcohol, and stuff like that, which I don't do. Like, I do alcohol, I would go out, but I know exactly, to control myself. I don't carry, get dragged into like stuff that, takes my mind off of work. And then regarding, traveling in general, for me, the reason why I work so hard is to generate enough money and wealth in order for me to live life like I want, So for me, the biggest thing that scares me is dying. I'm really afraid of dying. So everything that moves me is how do I squeeze and optimize, if you will, everything I can from this day, from this month, from this year. I want to make sure that I live life for the maximum that I can while I'm healthy and I can walk and I think straight, because it's you can be alive, but you can be tied to a bed in a hospital, So are you alive? So for me, it's about the balance, So I like to really play at a very high level, and also throughout time. If you took me 3, 4, 5 years back, I would definitely tell you, you know what, I'm traveling less, I want to work harder. I want to build whatever I have. But as I grew older and I built something, I think only this year maybe then I can pause and look back at what I built and actually say, wow, you know what? I actually built something very nice here. I can enjoy it a little bit. I get to travel with my beautiful wife. And
is there a point where you would say it's enough? I generated enough wealth. I built enough projects, businesses. Now I want to enjoy life, or it's never going to happen in your mind. How do you picture it?
If my wife was here, she would laugh very hard because I'm very obsessed with what I call the goal. There is a very specific goal. In terms of materialistic things, I don't have a passion. I don't want to build buy a plane, a private jet, a yacht. In terms of materialistic things, I really have everything that I need. Really, I don't need anything more, to be honest. What I do want to make sure that I build is an investment portfolio that consists of lots of things, which is something that I've studied throughout the last, 3-4 years. And I want it to be diversified enough so that even if the stock market goes down or up, if inflation goes up or down, then it's still pretty much stable. That means that you don't go and invest a lot of money into like crazy, meme coins that can go up and down 40, 50, 60% a day. But also you don't want the old investments that only do 4 or 5% a year. So something in the middle. And when you generate enough money, passive income, passive means not from a business. Passive means when
dividends, right?
Yeah, dividends, stock market, mutual funds, index funds, stuff like that. That all real estate, by the way, those two are like passive investments. When I generate enough to make sure that it flows, then
you can say enough.
Even right now, I feel like it's like 70% enough. Right now, if you took me 5 years back, I would work with people that I didn't want to work with, get treated sometimes not the way that I want to be treated. Now, if something doesn't work out, and if I feel like, something doesn't really match up, then I wouldn't do it.
Money is not everything, right?
If it's not fun for me and if I don't feel like, I really, the biggest thing is that I learned to listen to my gut. You know how sometimes you have that feeling in your, when someone, it's just something doesn't flow. You feel like something is off. I really listen to my gut nowadays.
Yeah, it's very important, I guess, to trust your inner voice, your gut feeling. Besides working hard, what else do you enjoy doing?
I think the biggest thing for me is impacting people. So if someone comes to me and they need a business advice, or if they need life advice, I feel like, for example, outside of business, what I went through with like finding my wife. We just a second before we started recording, you and me talked about height, which was a big thing for me, and it's still a big thing, but it impacted a lot of my life because a lot of parts of my life because of that, romantic part of my life, which I really wanted to get married. I wanted to date, someone who's good for me and not settle for something that doesn't work, So when someone comes to me and they have the same issues, and I can, give them some advice. This really drives me. I like that. Outside of that, the main focus is building my family at the moment.
Right.
It's just gonna have the baby girl come, which is a big thing. I can't wait for her to come already. So that's my project.
It's a whole another story. Yeah.
It's another page, another book.
Yeah, another book. I would say. You have any hobbies?
I would say gaming. I'm a pretty, big nerd.
Oh, yeah?
So it's like anything that has to do with gaming. Even when I, learn a new field, Like, for example, I wanted to learn how casinos work. So I learned how slots work, how they build them, the mathematics of blackjack, everything inside the casino. So I like learning things. So it's whether it's reading a book about how to be a good dad or how to, create music. I just like to learn things.
Amazing. And lastly, generating all your experience, taking into consideration all the businesses that you built, all the projects that you have been through, what is the one single piece of advice you would give to those who are looking to start their first business, be it related to affiliate side of things or completely different?
Yeah. The first or biggest advice I would give someone is to work on themselves. And for other people who are listening to this video and watching us right now, a lot of people would say, oh, it's like mambo jumbo, kumbaya, spiritual shit. But it's not. When you work on yourself and fix whatever you have to fix, and everyone has something to fix. Everyone got fucked by their parents. Everyone has something that they need to kind of like close down or like fill. If you don't do that, it's gonna meet you up later down the road when you become a more successful businessman, affiliate, brand owner, agency owner, whatever you want to do. So make sure that you work on yourself, because if you don't, you're gonna stay in a cycle where you are building something, whether it's a relationship with a business partner and ruining it, a business and ruining it, it's gonna meet you down the road. So you have to, the only thing that helped me is therapy and really, taking, accountability for the things that I've done that are not good for me and not victimize myself and stuff like that. So I think that once you come to that game where you're very much trained, it's almost like going to the gym, you're training your brain. So when you do that, you will perform at a much, much higher level. It's gonna be easier for you to run things, whether it's campaigns, businesses, relationships, and everything is gonna be much, much more easy, because you and me have been in the industry for a long time, and I'm sure that you know or seen people that generated a lot of money
and then they lose it.
They lose
it's
it.
like plunge like
They
this.
lose it one day,
We
We know people that went on stage a few years back. They had fireworks when they came on stage. They were like the headline, speakers and stuff like that. And then a year after, they committed suicide. You know what I mean? We know people like that. We know people that completely lost it. So if you don't work on yourself, it's almost like, and you jump over, to building something, a business or something like that, then it's almost like going to gym, not working out for 5 years, and then lifting, 50 kilograms, or like from the first day. It's not gonna work.
That was really insightful conversation, one that I did really enjoy myself and learn from you. Thank you very much for finding time in your tight schedule. That means a lot, and I'm sure that will mean a lot for people who are going to watch it.
Thank you so much, and just because I have to, because at the end of the day I'm in marketing. Anyone who wants to follow me, it's Maor Benaim, MAORBN on YouTube. Unleash Your Inner Wolf is on Amazon. There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna personally buy a book and read it. I have Amazon Kindle right up with me.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Thank you for this conversation.